All right, Jay Barino here. Welcome back. We're continuing IXION. We're at the tail end of Chapter 3. This is challenge difficulty, and that's forcing us even late into Chapter 3 to really deal with power constraints and alloy consumption. That's a big difference, actually, between normal and hard difficulty, is that alloy consumption is much higher to keep the hull afloat, and then your solar power, I think, generates 25% less. So we've been in Chapter 3 for longer than we've been in Chapters 1 and 2, so I'm feeling like we got to really get this show on the road at this point. I'm ready to move my recycling over to here. Again, it's a power constraint. It's an alloy constraint. Once we do that, and we kind of stabilize a little bit on both of those fronts, which we're very close to, we just have to manage our way there and finish that up, is then I can actually make some cuts in the footage, as I had mentioned, and just clean up a lot of the remaining sectors. Like, these can be storage now. We don't need mushroom walls here anymore. Redesigning Sector 1, getting these cryopods out of here, and actually unfreezing everybody over here in Sector 3. So I have to just kind of refamiliarize myself. So we do have 800 spare spots over here in Sector 3, which is more than enough. We have food covering 162%, which means that we could unthaw pretty much every remaining cryopod. We have 1,000 on the ship. We can almost house all of those in Sector 3, and then Sector 5 has plenty of space in it now as well because of the cell housing that we're going to continue to make. So let's just double check out here on the main map. I don't think there's much to still be picked up. Just kind of looking for hydrogen because I am interested in going into nuclear power. And I need some batteries in Sector 5 so I can move the Tiqqun over here. The issue is all of the well-placed stuff is part of the Intimananki where we're going to get a stability debuff. So there's not a great place for us to be. We kind of just maybe chill where we're at. So let's just head back here. We're going to get this DLS center set up again. And we're primarily we're waiting for alloy. I could shut down one of these. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I've been avoiding doing this, and I don't know why, is we just need to bring in more iron, and we have these docking bays here in Sector 1. I had deconstructed some of these, but the reality is we just need to do we could just let the Quicksilver bring in the rest of the cryopods, and then you guys go ahead and also bring in iron, and then it'll get transferred over. So Sector 1, you're going to trade iron. Sector 6, you're going to accept iron. So now we have several.
Accident has occurred in the Tiqqun.
So now we have several ships that are going to bring in iron. Now, we don't have enough steel to fix the hull right now, so again, we're kind of right on the cusp of danger zone. But that's going to be okay. What I'm also going to do, I'm going to go through all my sectors and sort of revisit the amount of needed steel that they're requesting, because these sectors don't really need this anymore. We'll send it back later. We can always just send it back later. So, like, you go ahead and you're just going to request 10. And then Sector 6 is 20. That's fine. And that they're the ones that are actually making it. Okay, DLS Center. I think, yeah, we're still waiting on a cooldown on the policies because we need to turn on waste recycling, which is going to be this. And once we can do that, then I'm going to go ahead and start bringing over... I'm going to start deconstructing this and bringing over waste from this sector. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and dismantle here. And then we do need to collect waste in this area. We'll move this eventually when we're ready to build the Exo-fighting dome, but right now that is not... It's not the time. We just have to wait for less than a cycle. 0.3, 0.2, almost. And waste recycling.
You can implement a new policy.
Delightful. And checking out here, we're almost done with all the cryopods, really one more, and then we're going to be bringing in a lot more iron because we're going to be bringing it on these docking bays. Meanwhile, we continue to thaw people, which is good. We get these cleaned out. Eventually, we only need one for cryopods, and then we can make one of these waste down here and then another one for food, because we have to transfer so much food from the stockpiles into the mess halls. So having 2 stockpiles for food for double trucks is probably quite valuable.
An accident has occurred in the Tiqqun.
Did you know that an accident has occurred in the Tiqqun? I'm shocked. Oh, and it's at the steel mill, too. That's a bummer. This is still running. That's good. We used a lot of our electronics chips. We should have enough now coming in. We can finish these. You're going to be waste. And now, Sector 6 was requesting waste. No, I'm sorry. Sector 3 was requesting waste. We make you minimum, and now Sector 5 is going to request all the waste. We do want to leave a little in Sector 3 to feed the mushroom farms, though those are going to be shut down eventually because we're going to have mushroom farms up here. The mushroom farms in Sector 2, though, they do actually contribute towards our food specialization 2, but the only benefit of food specialization 2 is +1 stability, and that's just, it's not really needed right now. Sector 1 is where we're neutral just because, well, Sector 5 is neutral because of the cell housing, and the whole temple only gets us +2 instead of the +3 from the domatic quarters, and Sector 1 is -1 from the cryopods, the extra cryopods that we have here. An EVA airlock being disabled is not great. I can always turn on another one. We have plenty of workers. Power is kind of the concern. We can repair the hull up a little bit and then turn one of them off. Okay, so you're going to be alloy. And we can turn on this other one. So the next thing to do, and this is where things are going to start getting a little crazy wild, is we're going to turn on the knee-high quarter protocol. We have enough beakers for it. We have knee-high protocol for our crew quarters. So all of our crew quarters, not cell housing, but crew quarters, is going to generate waste. And then that waste is going to make its way over here where it's going to get recycled into alloy. And then beyond that, we can also research something similar for our crop farms. We only have one set of those, but that's, you know, that's a little bit. And then cell housing also has it, and cell housing will generate a lot. So we're going to get 1 waste per 20 inhabitants over 15 cycles. And keep in mind how many inhabitants we now have in Sector 3 is really going to get us that quickly. Sector 3, we don't want any waste. Sector 2 is where we want a little bit of waste. I think I set that incorrectly previously. Okay, so it's going to start flooding in here momentarily. What I have to really think about is, now we can start moving. We can start spreading out this alloy again. Right, so we're going to need a little bit in Sector 3. We're going to need some in Sector 5. Good chunk in Sector 5, because that's where we're going to be doing a lot of construction still. Sector 2 doesn't really need much. We can just give it a little bit extra. And then Sector 1 continues to need enough to feed the airlocks. So we're going to turn you off. And I have to make my way through and just decide what other things we need to turn off. And power here is 10, so we can turn you on. And you're going to be alloy for now. Alloy is really what we're looking for here in Sector 5. And if we'd have to kind of keep an eye on Sector 3, but the waste, again, output here is over the course of many cycles, it's enough. It's a lot. We can use our extra cash here to either upgrade our cargo ships, which now that I finally kind of broached the recycling situation, I don't think is even necessary. We can just go ahead and allow the Tiqqun to move faster. The fastest possible, really. Let's just kind of keep an eye out here and make sure.
An accident has occurred in the Tiqqun.
Yeah, I'm happy with this. We could probably turn some of these off now, too. Let's see, there's quite a lot of carbon to bring in. The next step is really just reorganizing this so that I can fit more stuff here in Sector 1, because we're going to be collecting hydrogen in this sector before the end of this and setting up our nuclear power. But I would like to just make sure that we're finalized with our recycling so that income is not really in question. See, stuff's already starting to really come in here. So we can resume this. We just do these one by one. And we're going to be moving folks that wake up over to Sector 5 now. Because they're in extra hours, and we should have plenty of workers over here to move. Oh my gosh, the amount of spare workers we have is wild. So Sector 3 to Sector 5. And just give them 50 workers, and then we're going to be waking people up to live over here. Right, and then let's go ahead and finish cell quarters here as well. So it's going to be a lot of alloy. Again, we're just kind of making bits and pieces. With this stuff finished, I'm pretty sure we're over the hump. These cell housings only cost 1 power as well. That's incredible.
You can implement a new policy.
My new policy is to turn this off so I can get my power back. Same here. Turn that off. That one's turned off. So really now we just kind of are going to go through and see, like, what can we turn off that we just don't need anymore. This is only 2 power, so now we're going to see huge benefits there. We could probably turn off a lot of our infirmaries. I don't even know how much of a benefit that's really getting us. We don't need this on right now. Scrolling back through, that one's already off. I guess we don't really need this on right now. Yes, bring me that iron. Bring it to me. Yes. I'm going to get a small stockpile here for even more iron. That's going to allow for better distribution and more storage. Not iron, steel. And I'm feeling pretty good. And then we want Sector 1 requesting as much polymer as it can fit. And then Sector 6 actually is already supplying... Oh, it's because this is off. I mean, I turned a lot of stuff off because I need to be able to turn on the recyclers, right? So now you can turn... Now you can be turned on. We can turn on another one after this. You're going to do chips. And that's probably all that we can support right now. So with 2 recyclers bringing in alloy, I mean, eventually it's going to be 3, 4, you know, we can even turn on another one here. It's really just now waiting for alloy and getting this all built. We're almost entirely self-sufficient at this point. So the other thing I can do next is now make the knee-high protocol from cell housing. I think once that's done, again, we're almost entirely self-sufficient in terms of iron. We'll continue to or steel. We'll continue to collect it from around the system, but it's less important right now. And we have space to thaw the remaining cryopods. 1,000 is, again, it's wild. It's a lot. But I think now is the time, as I had mentioned. I'm going to start making some cuts, and I can pop back in to kind of show you where I'm at and how things are going. Still a little silicon in here. I'm not really sure in terms of carbon if we really want to bring more in. We have some space to put it. We have a little space here to put it, but no space to put the finished polymer. Actually, we do, because I was going to make this polymer. It's just... Again, we're still waiting to be a little better off in terms of steel. So I'm going to go ahead and wait and kind of finish a lot of these buildings, even if most of them are turned off. And when I come back, I'm going to be looking into moving into nuclear power. So I will see you then. Okay, I'm just moving along here, but I did get a request pop up. So let's see what it is. Administrator, a small group of crew members have been meeting secretly and fighting against each other. It seems to have had a positive impact on their morale. They have submitted a project proposal for an exo-fighting dome. It could be a good idea to develop this. It might provide wider benefits. So we can pledge to construct it in 40 cycles, 20 cycles, or shut down the club. So I do need to build this, and I should have enough alloy income to do it, especially now with as far as I've come. So I will pledge to do this in 40 cycles. Don't talk about it because it's Fight Club, but we're going to pause and I can kind of show you what I have done. So Sector 3, I moved some cryopods up here, but I'm actually going to go ahead and put them down here instead because I need this area cleared out because this is where the Exo-fighting dome is going to go. So that's the start. When that's done building, we can shut this down. So we can just kind of queue this up for deconstruction already. Same with this one. It's queued up for deconstruction. It's gone. And then Sector 2 is pretty much the same. I built a fire station. Can finish that. We just leave it off, though. And then this should get... I think this should get a chip. Just put like one chip in every sector still is something we still want to do. And I have enough now because I've been making them. Right, so we wait for that. And then there's homeless in Sector 5. I don't believe that. No, I think it's probably just from when we paused here. It's like they got moved over when they thawed, and then now they have somewhere to go. So this is pretty much all done. And unfortunately, that's a problem. We're going to turn you on to alloys. We're going to need a lot of alloy in order to make this this fighting dome. So we do have to wait for these to all exit the stockpile. And we have brought in all the cryopods. I'm bringing in some extra iron because that continues to be a thing that we need. Sector 5 in terms of batteries is all set up here. We just need to let them charge, which is very challenging because we don't have a lot of spare solar power. So the hope is, again, we'll be able to finish that Exo-fighting dome here pretty soon. We have enough alloy on the station in a general sense. I just need this space to clear up. Now, we don't have anywhere near the power needed, but we do have the workers. We should have the chips. Again, it's gonna take some time, but obviously we're just gonna leave it off for now. I've gone ahead and I've moved. I have multiple food storages in here in Sector 3, just because the sheer number of people we need to feed over here is substantial, so that can load up both mess halls. In terms of food, we're at 140%. I really don't anticipate we're going to need to make any changes. Maybe we just got to turn on some mushroom walls over here. But for now, I'm not going to really touch anything until that Exo-fighting dome completes. And we could say Sector 3 is going to request a few additional electronics just so we can kind of get this built a little bit faster. I've queued up drone upgrades just because drones, I haven't really explained this, but the drones, they fly through these little holes in the train stations and they drop things off. You can see they're kind of flying through now. So they're not burdened by the road system at all. They can just kind of go back and forth and move things around. Allowing them to be able to hold more, it would be valuable. Right, so it's just going to take some time. Again, 40 cycles is pretty generous, so I think we'll finish it by then. So, like, Sector 3
has occurred in the Tiqqun.
only needs really 3 chips right now. Because 2 of them are going to go into this, and then we have 1 in storage. Truthfully, we can just have them hold onto 1. It's fine. Do I have any other sectors, speaking of that, that's asking for more chips than just 1? Sector 5 is asking for 4. Just give 1 across the board, just to make sure that where I actually need... There we go. It's done already. Okay, no problem. Every so often you see that, like, some food issues pop up, and it's really just the transports putting them inside the flippin' mess halls is time-consuming. I think for Sector 3, we just max you out on food so that we don't have to worry about that anymore. Sector 5... is going to probably need more food as well. 40 max is not enough. We have plenty of food in storage. We just got to spread the love. And then power. Power is the problem. So we're going to wait for this to finish because this is using pretty much all of our alloy. No more resources available to mine. I've bled this sector dry. We are ready to leave, though, at any point, keep in mind. So we just kind of do a cursory once-over. Carbon... not needed. Did I see some hydrogen there? That might be worth trying to grab. I saw it, but it's going to be hard to find because I'm just like blasting over these areas. I don't need ice. It looks like it's quite close to us. There we go. So yeah, go ahead and mine that primarily. And we're going to start bringing that in as well. So we don't want too much iron building up on the docks over here. Actually, none is building up on the docks because we're smelting it fast enough that it's not a problem at all. So now I'm going to think about power because our alloy income is going to be fine with this recycling. In fact, we could probably turn on another one or get like the other knee-high protocols as well. But, you know, waiting on this to build, like that was... a huge amount of alloy. You see that tick right there where all these structures just dumped a bunch of waste at once. There we go. So now it's being built, so that is going to be good to go. And once we have a nuclear plant, we could turn it on, and that's going to provide a massive, massive amount of stability around the station and get us out of neutral anywhere it's a problem, which it's really not. I do need to be able to turn on another one of these, but there's not really much I have that I can turn off right now, except I guess I don't really need all of these plants running at the same time. The silicon plant is also tapped out here momentarily. Can make 2 more chips. So with that in mind, I think I'm going to go back to just sort of chilling. Actually, it's probably about that time. I'm going to deconstruct my tech lab because I am going to move it over here. The reason I'm doing that is because I would like my nuclear plant to be here. It fits the exact same size as the tech lab. I planned this from the very beginning. And the idea is because our hydrogen can be brought in Sector 1 and then just fed straight into it rather than needing to have multiple places for storage. So, yeah, getting to that nuclear plant is going to be really, really valuable just because power is our problem right now. So let's go ahead and move this over here. And now it's facing naturally in the direction that I always wanted it to. How much power does this take? 12. I don't know if I could turn on another one of these and also have the tech lab running. I don't think so. So we're going to have to turn off something else. See, now I almost have too much iron coming in. See, it says that people are starving. I'm not sure if maybe these just didn't fill up in time for the meal cycle. I don't know how much better I can do in terms of storing food over here for these people. Oh, it's Sector 5 where they're starving. Interesting, because I have quite a lot of food. It's just, I guess, maybe, is it too far away from the mess hall? I mean, I have 2 mess halls as well. I don't know if having them both on really would make a difference here. Just waiting for this to finish, and let's go ahead and at least place down our nuclear plant here. Turn that off, and we do have to turn on some of these in order to properly load up what is needed. We're gonna eat through a ton of our alloy in this sector, but that's fine. Our Sector 6 production should keep up with it. Once we turn off a bunch of these, then we'll have plenty of power to work with. So, like, even now, we turn off at least one of them. That gives me the power I need for this, and the nuclear plant also needs some base power that we don't really have available to give it. Yeah, 5 science every 3 cycles is pretty incredible. Okay, we could turn this off now. We don't need all this silicon production. So our industry is actually pretty quiet at this point because a lot of our production, a lot of our ally production can just come from recycling. Like, we can run off of this amount of recyclers and it's fine. We have a large storage here for alloy. And then this is being built. Now, that means that we're going to need to start bringing in a pretty substantial amount of hydrogen, and we need a place to store it, which means we kind of need to redo our Sector 1. That also, looking at this, I realize we need to bring in ice, because we have no ice. We have, like, literally no ice. And we're running out of water. So food could become an issue if we don't get ice in here quick, because I stopped paying attention to that. So that's all right. Sector 1 dudes are going to start bringing in ice. I can afford to move the Tiqqun now, and realistically, I only have 1 sector in neutral, and we could turn on the alternative life center. So I think we need to move the Tiqqun to a more conducive place closer to resources. So we're going to come over here to the reactor wreckage. We have the lowest is 6.3 cycles of move. So maybe I'm thinking we come over here to the destroyed command center, which is where we started in the first place. So, never a dull moment. It's, you know, you're always short on something. It just depends on how on top of bringing stuff in we can be. We also can bring in ice over here if I had a place to store it, which I don't really. can't believe we've almost unthawed everybody. It's pretty wild. So speaking of that, I had turned off trading to Sector 3 because I wanted to be able to move my cryopods around. So Sector 1, start moving over your remaining cryopods so that we can start making some space for hydrogen. And we don't need this to be iron anymore.
An accident has occurred in the Tiqqun.
So this can be something else. Let me check my layout here on how I wanted these arranged. So this is fine, and then I was going to make this medium, and then this road here is actually going to go away eventually. I can maybe just move it all the way over here for now, just so that there is a road. But this one, yeah, this one's got to go. Let's wait for this one to be made, and then we can start deconstructing pretty much all of these because we don't need them anymore. There you go. And then we ditch this. And then we ditch this. We're going to have to move our food in this area, but that's okay. Yeah, this is mostly off. We have plenty of... Let's go ahead and resume some of these just one by one. Reason being is once all these mushroom walls are done, that's going to allow us to get to recycling tier 2, and the benefits from that are crazy wild good. So I think we also have industry tier 1 over here.
Caution. Entering debris field.
Right, so we're in the debris field. We've got ice coming in. Checking.
Hull integrity below 50%.
It's all right. We've stopped now. We've stopped moving. Let's just check on our water. Again, we still have some water in the tank. We just need to bring in a little bit more ice, and it should be fine. So, yeah. Good. Ice will come in pretty fast. The other thing I could do, I mean, we upgraded drones, but we continue to upgrade our cargo ships. The speed is probably the most valuable thing at this point. So let's do that. And then we can deconstruct all of these. And then I just sort of need to review where I'm going to put all my stockpiles remaining. I'm just going to fit... There's going to be a little empty space here. That's okay. Sector 5 is sad. It's because we have the debris field hitting us. I could turn on my alternative life center. I have enough workers. That'll get us at least to neutral. And then Sector 5, you've got about 250 open housing. Sector 1's got a lot of open housing, so we can move people up there as well. Actually, I think all of our remaining people would fit here in Sector 3. So let's just have people... Let's go ahead and move some to Sector 1 to start, and then leave them in Sector 3. We should be fine. I haven't seen any other food issues. And as long as ice is coming in now more consistently, then we're fine. And then we're not going to need that for much longer. We're not going to need that steel production much longer. Pretty much all of our industry can go silent for a while. I'm going to turn this on because I have some spare power. The nuclear plant needs to be fed hydrogen to work, and it needs to be fed it consistently, by the way. So it's kind of like ice. We're taking on another persistent thing that we need. That's a bit of a bummer. Maybe making a stockpile for ice over here, just so that we can have the Quicksilver go and pick some up. That could be pretty valuable. That might be the right choice here. But otherwise, all of our sectors are pretty much done. This is all going to be just storage at the end of the day. Let's see. So we got a battery here. And then I would have a small workshop, or a small stockpile here. And then a small stockpile here. And then medium for... one for ice and one for hydrogen. I mean, we already have an ice. It's just now we've got to pick. I mean, there's so much to pick up in this system. We just need our cargo ships rolling with it. Okay, we just queue up this. And I'm once again going to go ahead and make a cut here because I feel as though we're in a really good spot. So I'm just going to kind of go dormant for a while and continue building this stuff out before we decide to move to Sector 4. Construct this, and I'll be back. Okay, popping back in also to show that Sector 5 is pogging off. Industry Tier 1 for the battery power is not a huge deal, but it's good. Between the mushroom walls and our recycling centers, recycling Tier 2, recycling buildings produce 30% more resources. You don't have a stability penalty from a waste buildup, which has not really been a problem so far. Food production from buildings produces 15% more food. That's only from the mushroom walls, to be clear. And industry buildings are 30% faster. So we're going to process waste faster, and we're going to get more. So that 30% increase, it just sort of rounds up. So now it's 50 waste gets you 2 electronics instead of just 1. Technically it's 1.3, but the game doesn't know what to do with that, so it just does 2. I would call it an exploit, but it's literally just a normal upgrade that you can get. You know, 50 waste for 65 alloys. This is crazy stuff. So really now I'm just kind of chilling and waiting. I'm just getting my ice built back up here, which has happened very quickly. As you can see, I've also started bringing in ice over here. We've got space. I was just going to make this more Dematic quarters, but frankly, I don't think we really need it. So with that in mind, we're going to keep bringing in just a little bit more ice, just to be super duper safe. I think we can go ahead and get rid of this right here. That's fine. I feel okay about that. And then I am sending people over to Sector 1, right? Yeah, because Sector 1 has a lot of housing, and I think I'm just going to give them even more. I could also give them more batteries. Eventually, we're going to need a lot of batteries on the ship, so like we could just make this battery central up and down here. But, you know, we can do one more small stockpile here and maybe just do iron with it so that we have 2 irons, because only one has been problematic through like the whole game, and then we can get one more Dematic quarter. But as you can see, our steel is fine. Our ice has recovered very quickly now that we have 3 cargo ships bringing it back in. It did not take long at all. And then what I'm going to start doing to sort of finalize this is just start gathering hydrogen and filling up. This is going to be hydrogen, and then probably both of these will be hydrogen, so that we just have a lot of it, and then this is going to be ice, so that we can store just a little bit of extra ice. In terms of cryopods, we're basically done with cryopods until the end of the game. It feels good. Waste treatment here, or water treatment, would be nice, because we have so much waste. That could make it so that we don't even need the fusion station anymore, just because we can turn 50 waste into infinite water, basically, per cycle. It's 50 waste per cycle, so that's a lot. I think that's how it works. Use 50 waste per cycle to fulfill all water needs in a sector. So that would just make it so I never have to stop and be like, oh shoot, I need ice. That would never happen again. So that would be nice, but I wouldn't say it's ultra critical. We've survived up until this point. You know what I was going to do? I think I was going to make these this fire station, so we can just demolish these quickly. Oh yeah, I was going to do more iron here, but frankly, the extra ice, based on what just happened, really isn't a bad idea, just to make sure we never have issues. We never have issues again. Now, if we have too many of these on at the same time, then the waste gets kind of distributed weird, and then you don't have them all running. It's not that big of a deal, but it is something we want to keep in mind. Okay, we keep getting cargo ship upgrades, which, again, not necessarily the most important of things. I'd love to get these remaining nuclear upgrades, 20 fewer workers, and then the power cost reduction. That requires us to get these silly polymer and electronics factory upgrades that we don't need those anymore. So the last thing I'm going to do, again, is start bringing in this hydrogen so that we can appropriately store it and start running our nuclear power to give us that little bit of leeway. We need to free up 20 power to do it. That's not a problem. That's not a problem at all, just to turn it on. Once it's on, it's going to give us more power than we kind of know what to do with, honestly. Let's just hit one of these. Consume that. We can consume our metals a little bit faster if we have 3 running instead of 2. These guys are still bringing in iron over here. What I was thinking is we start bringing in a little bit of carbon, because I don't need all this iron coming in anymore. We're not consuming it very quickly because all of our sectors are pretty much fully built out. There's really nothing else to build. This sector is done. water treatment is all that's missing, and that's not really a big deal. Let's go ahead and build our fire station in our civilian sector here, but we're going to leave it off. And there's enough resources in this sector already. So, yeah, I'm just going to sit here and keep collecting ice and keep collecting hydrogen, and then we're turning on this. I mean, we already actually have some, so I could turn this on. I just need to turn off something to give me the leeway to turn this on. We have enough workers. That kicked me way over. Whoops. So we could turn you off now.
Power restored.
And I need to get down to 7. No, that's good enough now. So we turn you on, and hydrogen's going to start going in. That's going to give us 75 additional power, but it's eating 3 hydrogen per cycle. So that's why we're going to just collect a lot of it so we don't have to worry about it. But now we have more power. I wouldn't say more power than we know what to do with, but we have a lot of power. And we could turn this on if we want. So if we do this, now everybody's going to be very happy. We get +2 from the fighting dome, yeah, across the entire station. So we're going to have no stability problems anymore, so long as this is on. But also, it's not really a big deal if we turn it off, to be clear. Currently, we're suffering this corpse field debuff, and we're also suffering a debuff from the fact that this sector is in mostly cell housing, but like in the grand scheme, that's not a lot. Now, this we can also ramp this up so it consumes up to 8 hydrogen per cycle and gives us even more power. I can also get another hydrogen. I can get another nuclear station. So now that this is running, let's go ahead and we can throw down our fire station. I really only have to turn the fire station on when there are fires. So if there are no fires, I'm not going to turn them on. It's really that simple. So we're going to collect as much hydrogen as we can to fill these up and the docking bays. And then I'm going to grab some additional ice to get filled up on those. And then that's going to be that. There's nothing else we need to do. So Sector 3, you can trade ice to a minimum. Sector 2, you want to continue collecting ice where you can. I can even get another stockpile down here of ice just because these mushroom farms are not really needed, especially because I could just turn on one in Sector 5 and we would get a higher bonus from it as well. So if we turn this on and then we dismantle one of these, quite a lot of resources there. We're getting to the point now where we're not going to have enough space for all of our resources. You know what? You guys don't really need to be bringing anything else in, so stop. We could turn our carbon factories back on because now Sector 5 is going to request all the polymer. Sector 1 is going to request all the polymer. Sector 6, not so much. So we can go ahead and have you guys bring in some of the carbon because there's a lot all over the map. And we have to turn you back on, and we have power to do it. And we have to turn you back on because we have power to do it. Did I leave this on? No, I turned this off. But I have enough power. I have enough leeway now where I could turn the Exo-fighting dome back on if I wanted to, which I don't. We also have an unopened sector. We'll worry about this next time. I mean, we need consistent hydrogen, which we have. I mean, we're all set. So we're back down to food specialization tier 1. But frankly, I don't think we need tier 2. I don't think it really gives us a big bonus. So I'm going to make this a stockpile now, and it's going to be ice. Just lots and lots of ice stockpile. Still getting cargo ship logistics. I could produce more waste as well. The knee-high for cell housing is actually incredible. It'd be worth getting even faster charging speed for our batteries? Probably. We're going to have plenty of time to upgrade when we get to the next sector, too. So I'm just, I'm doing as much as I can from the resources that exist in this system before we leave. And again, there's plenty of time. Dismantle this one. We'll get another food warehouse as well so we can, like, really stockpile. Okay, we're going to turn on another mushroom wall in Sector 5. I also got drone speed, and there's another level of it too, the breath. We're going to get all the drone bay upgrades. That's going to be really, really handy. And I'm going to get a third drone bay in Sector 4 once we open it. That's going to be nice. Okay, that's already full, so we can just make enough carbon to fill up this stockpile, and then we're done. Because this one's already full, so our probe launchers are good to go. We need to turn on this probe launcher. We need to make sure that we have enough workers to do it, because you're going to auto-build missile countermeasures eventually. We don't need that right now. Sector 1 has a homeless problem, because I have moved too many people there from unfreezing cryopods. Yes. Back to Sector 3, please. And then how many people are homeless up here? We can move about 30 non-workers from Sector 1 to Sector 3. That's where you belong. And how many colonists do we have? 225. That's enough for now. Eventually, we're going to be able to train them a lot faster, and that will meet our needs. Okay, got those cargo ship upgrades that were kind of superfluous, but that's all good.
Population transfer complete.
We could make it so that our crops generate more waste. I think we go ahead and make it so our cell housing generates more waste, because we are really popping off from our waste production at this point. Especially because now we're using it for more food. All right, so we've got 2 on chips, 2 on alloy. We could turn these ones on later. No issues with food anywhere else from what I could tell. And we've thawed pretty much everybody. That's what you like to see, and we're keeping up with food production, 130%. It's just the distribution around the station and making sure that we can distribute it all. Okay, I am pleased. I'm once again going to make a pause in the video and just going to wait for hydrogen and ice, and then that's going to be the end of Sector 3. So when I return, either it's going to be because something has gone horribly, horribly wrong, or it's because I have collected and stockpiled all the resources that I want to hold on to, and we are moving on. Okay, I know many of you were probably hoping that I would pop back in and say something's gone horribly wrong, but I'm pretty sure now we are over the major hurdle here. I've stockpiled a bunch of hydrogen. I think there's enough hydrogen here to keep us afloat at this level of power output for about 300 cycles, which is a huge amount of time considering how far into the game we are. I've stockpiled back up my ice. I have 2 nearly full stockpiles over here, 1 here. It's too much ice. I just hate having to worry about ice because as we witnessed earlier, it's always that same thing where I'm thinking like, oh, everything's good, and oh wait, no, I'm completely out of ice. So we have a ton stockpiled such that we don't have to worry about it nearly as much. If anything, I would consider maybe moving cargo ships from Sector 6. Because I have 3 here, and that was to support industry, but industry is less important now because we have recycling going. I think we maybe make 2 of these mining ships, and then we move 2 cargo ships over here, because this is going to be where our ice and our hydrogen comes in, for the most part, because this is where we can store it as a landing spot. At least the hydrogen goes straight into the nuclear plant, and then the ice gets taken over to Sector 2. So I think we have more than enough of pretty much everything, and then really what we're short on now is science. So going over that, we have the EKP engine maxed out. I'm looking to get some science ship movement speed, just because that way they can move around a little faster, and that will unlock the ability to get the increased exploration science, which is not even that necessary, because I would say nothing left in science is absolutely critical, except maybe the colonization training center, which is for the very end of the game. So, upgrading the Exo-fighting dome would be really good, which requires some of the DLS center upgrades. Like getting the propaganda, granting additional stability is good across the board, because every single sector is benefiting from propaganda. So that's 2 levels there that we would need to get. And then the Exo-fighting dome, it just gives it more... It just provides more stability. So it's 2 just station-wide, and we can make it 3. The workshop, there's really nothing here we need, because these are... I mean, I do have power overloads that happen quite a bit, so maybe I should go ahead and grab those. The waste treatment center, Recycling alloy costs 10 fewer wastes. Honestly, I'm in like a near perfect equilibrium in terms of my waste consumption right now, so I'm not really looking to make that more efficient. Because then I think I would end up stockpiling too much waste, and then I'd have to turn on more. It's not a big deal, but it's just something to consider. I mean, these mushroom walls also, we don't really need them. Sector 2, we've got this down here instead of the mushroom walls, so that puts us down to food specialization 1. I did confirm that the level 1 is good enough. You don't get additional reduction in water consumption at level 2. Level 2 only gets you the extra stability, which we don't need extra stability in this sector. There's no reason. If any place needed extra stability, it's Sector 5 because of the cell housing, but we just turned on our alternative life center and we're good to go. So that's pretty much everything. We're just collecting a little hydrogen and ice, but I don't need them, right? We can burn through this hydrogen pretty quick, and it's similar to ice. It's just one of those things now that we're going to constantly need, which is irritating, but that's where we're at in the game. So I'm going to just say what many viewers are probably thinking. The game at this point does begin to overstay its welcome a bit.
An accident has occurred.
And that's mostly because we're at the edge of the tech tree and all of our sectors are set up. The best we can do is open up Sector 4 for like a storage sector, but we don't really even have the throughput for that kind of storage. It would just be like, oh, I guess let's store some additional hydrogen, and that's it. So not really a necessity there. We're going to finish our drone upgrades, but believe me when I say Chapter 4 and Chapter 5. Chapter 5 is much shorter. It's very much like you're at the end of the game, you're finishing. Chapter 4 is going to be shorter than this one. I'm pretty confident. We also have all sorts of new science to do. All of the science in Chapter 4 and 5, it gets really weird. I'm really excited. It just gets really, really weird. But it's nice to not feel constrained in terms of resources anymore, I will say. It feels really, really good. So even just with one steel mill we can support our... it seems like we can support our 3 EVA airlocks. But otherwise, yeah, we're going into Chapter 4. We have to face down the Piranesi. So we're going to be able to explore much of Chapter 4 before we have to deal with the Piranesi, but it's... I don't want to give anything away, but I'll just say that Chapter 4 is more interesting. There are more active threats throughout Chapter 4, unlike Chapter 3, where it's like you get through the magnetic storm and then it's just build as much as possible. And to be fair, even though we spent a lot of time in Chapter 3, I think I did it at a pretty good pace. Like, even though we spent a lot of time here, we could have spent a lot longer. I think I appropriately collected and spent my resources rather than just sort of sitting around and waiting and doing nothing. We only did at the very end here, waiting for hydrogen and ice. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and dock my ships. Again, it's not necessary that you do that. I just like to go ahead and make sure that they're all on their way back to the Tiqqun. And we are getting out of here. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my second probe launcher to also launch probes in Chapter 4. And then we can also use it to auto-build our missile countermeasures, but that is for later. We have plenty of polymer to support that, and we don't need any more solar panels. So if power's looking okay, we can always just increase the output here or make another plant if we need. Thanks everyone for watching. Very exciting. No, we're not. Let's go. We're flying. We're going. Charge the thing.
In accordance with Ralph Stanford procedures, all ships must return to the Tiqqun before volt jump initiation.
I heard that an accident happened as we're leaving. You know, it's bound to happen.
Ready.
Yes, let's go. To Chapter 4 we go.
Full jump complete. Running preliminary diagnostics. Expected irreversible damage to the Tiqqun detected. Calculations indicate the system's pulsar is dormant. Sensors have located the Piranesi, currently powered down. You must find a way to retrieve the Remus coordinates from it. Act with extreme caution, Administrator.
And we shall. Is it just me, or did it seem like there was room for solar panels out here? What's going on? Do I have any that are damaged? No, they're all built.
An accident has occurred in the Tiqqun.
Oh, I gotta remember to build the drone jammer. Don't let me forget. Someone leave a comment. Jay, remember to build the drone jammer. But yeah, we're cooking with gas. We're ready to go. No, don't look at this yet. This is for next time. We're gonna start Chapter 4 next time. Thank you, everyone, for watching. We had an extremely successful Chapter 3, and I'd like to remind everyone, I am on challenge difficulty, and I've min-maxed the crap out of this. We would have failed in Chapter 2 if I didn't do that. Chapter 3 gives you way more leeway. But only because we got there in a strong position, right? It gives you that leeway because it knows you're going to need to rebuild from a very weak Chapter 2. But we had a strong Chapter 2. It was close, but we left in a good spot. We got to Chapter 3, and now we are solid. So that's going to allow us to semi-coast through Chapters 4 and 5. Chapter 4 can be quite difficult, especially if you don't know what to expect. Very exciting. You will see soon. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.